Hi everybody, my name is Eric Brockmeyer. I'm the CEO and the technical advisor for the Honest Water Filter Company. And first and foremost, I want to thank all of you for being part of this video. In this video, we're going to be explaining the proper unpackaging and installation of our product. There are various ways to do it, but one of the most important things we want you to know is use a razor blade to open the box. Do not punch down and hit it. We want you to open it properly. Now I've of course pre-done that. And when you do, what you're going to do is you're going to open the box, and inside the box you're going to find more boxes. Well, what we want you to do is take the paper out and just throw it away. Right below that paper you will find 3/4 fittings. You see, with our product you can either do 1 inch or 3/4. If you're going to do 3/4, then go ahead and open the package and I'll show you how to utilize these pieces. The next step is to pull out the shorter box. This box. This box is the manifold. What we'd like you to do before you pull out any other boxes is go ahead and open this box to make sure that everything inside of it is properly installed already from the factory. Now there are some pretty cool things that go on. It comes pre-packaged, all ready to go. You're going to find several things. First and foremost, you're going to find the owner's manual. If you like, please feel free to read it. You can leave this with the consumer, but we recommend you take it with you. This is really for your edification. A lot of people like to leave it. That's entirely up to you. Please feel free to do so. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull out the excess paper in the box. Go ahead and toss that. The next thing I'd like you to do when you're pulling things out of the box, make sure you have your package of O-rings. You're going to have some extra lube in there. What's really important about this lube is we want you to use it and not faucet grease. This lube does not harden. It's a special, very expensive lube that we provide for you to use on fittings when needed. Most of the time the products come pre-greased, but if you want to feel good about greasing stuff up, well, go ahead and use this lube. Next thing you're going to find is extra clips. We have back clips and U-clips. U-clips we'll go over here in a minute. You're going to pull out this drain tube. This drain tube can be used for backwashing, not really backwashing, but just letting out some of the excess dust that you may experience in our product, but there won't be much. Some people use it, some people don't. That's entirely up to you. Another way to do it is turn on one cold faucet, and when you go to start the system, which we'll go over later, you can just leave it open, turn the water on, let it run for a couple of minutes, and it should be fine. Or you can use this tube, which we'll go over later. Then you're going to find this weird looking fitting. It looks like a double T. This double T is actually called a serial port. The reason it's called a serial port, as you know, is that we use two different types of methodologies. One in series, where we have to take all the water through the pre-filter, and then parallel, which is what this system does. It creates it to go from series into parallel, and we'll make that explanation a little bit later, but this is in the box. It'll be part of your installation. If you like, go ahead and rip it open and set it on the table for use that's about to come up. Then you're going to pull out a singular manifold and head, just like this. We want you to make sure all 4 clips are installed and both back clips are actually installed. That being so, you're going to go out and pull out the double manifold, and you're going to do the same thing on inspection. Make sure all the clips are in the needed spots, that all the back clips are installed. This is a filtered port. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And make sure your gauge is installed and that there is a cover on it. This concludes the inspection of your manifold. Well, now that you've unboxed everything, let's go ahead and unbox the filters and actually inspect those. First one I'd like you to do is pull out the Defender. The Defender is your pre-filter. We're certainly going to be installing that first on the manifold. Do not remove this white cap. This white cap is called a sanitary cap. Once you remove it, you should not touch, and here I'll do it for you. You'll hear a vacuum as well. So there'll be a little bit of air that comes out, equalizing the pressure in the system. But just open it to inspect that there are 4 O-rings. Once you've identified that there are and that this is the proper filter for you, go ahead and put that cap back on to protect those O-rings while you unbox the rest of the filters. So once you've done that, you've inspected that, what we want you to do is go ahead and take out the other 2 cartridges. They will be your 4925 PHCs, and it'll also say, when we say PHC, the letter P stands for plus. So you're going to say plus HC, HC stands for high capacity. It just says our silver is a 4925. You're going to do the same thing there. You're going to go ahead and pull off the sanitary cap. Hear the vacuum, equalize, check for 4 rings, and again, put the sanitary cap back on. Continue this process on your 3rd and final. You're going to also open it up, check to make sure we have the proper numbers and identifications, check for 4 O-rings, and put your cap back. Now that you've done that, and you know that everything's good, I wouldn't leave them standing like this, because if you drop them, they could break. I would go ahead and lay these down so that you don't drop them. And you can use the back of your van. If you have a table, put down a towel, something to keep them clean would be appropriate to do that. Now what we're going to do as we move forward is we're going to go ahead and assemble the manifold properly so that you understand how it goes. Now that we're ready to install the manifold, let's prepare that. This is your second or 2-tier manifold. This is where the 2 4925 plus HCs will be installed. But first we have to assemble it. The first thing you're going to want to do is from the back with your thumbs, push out the clips that have an open port. Lay those clips aside. And then you're going to pick up your serial port. Now, before you do your serial port installation, you're going to want to know a couple of things. One, what we're about to do is we're about to install this from left to right when facing the unit. You can assemble this from right to left when facing the unit and looking at it by simply removing this clip and this fitting, this clip and this fitting, and I'm going to show you how to flip that after we assemble it from left to right. Just you want to be the opposite. So we're going to show you both ways. Right now, I'm going to install the serial port so that it's left to right. How do we do that? We look at this serial port, and on this serial port are some etchings. In this case, it shows you flow. The flow here goes from the outlet at the top down and back to an inlet on the bottom. The proper way to rotate this is to rotate it this way when we're going to do a right to left. This flow rate is left to right. This flow rate is right to left. Please note that when we flip it, this bottom clip is now facing the back. You're going to need to pull the pen and bring it around to the front. Now, it's good to have a screwdriver, but in this case, you can take these clips, and this flat clip works really good by getting it in there, and you can use it as a tool to pull this clip out. If you don't have a screwdriver, but I know all of you will. You would simply just take this clip from the back and push it to the front. It's that simple. Now, since I'm doing a left to right, we're going to go ahead and flip this back around, and we're going to reinstall this clip. Let's continue. Now, as we get going into the assembly, we want you to remember one thing that's really important about our product. Inlet is always on the bottom, and outlet will always be on the top. Whether it's left to right or right to left, outlet on top, inlet on bottom. So let's now go ahead and assemble, because we're doing left to right, the serial port in its proper configuration. you want to make sure that you go and you have pulled the 2 clips in the blank spaces. Push the serial port in very tightly. Take your clips and insert them. If your clip does not go in easy, just simply push on the fitting harder to seat it into the hole. Push the clip in and it should lock in. Now you've properly installed it on one side. Now we have to continue to install the pre-filter head, which is here. So in order to do that, you have 2 open ports. We need to remove those 2 clips as well. Now we're going to go ahead and push it into the serial port, creating a left to right application. Again, push it in solid, take your clips, and install by simply pushing with your thumbs. Again, if they don't go in super easy, just push harder on your manifold to get it to seat properly to the serial port. You see how easy that goes in? And they should click. This is your proper left to right. Inlet on the bottom, outlet on the top. Please note that this fitting, this needle valve, is in the open position. You're going to want to close it. This is here for 2 reasons. One, wonderfully enough, a plumber had asked the question about could we use this as a feed to an ice maker in a garage? The answer is yes. This fitting is filtered water. It is simply a push fit fitting. Sorry, push fit. You know what I mean. It's a John guess. You're just going to push it in and insert the tube. It will not remove. In order to remove this tube, simply push down the fitting and it releases. Again, you can install this tube at any time before you add water. Make sure you have a bucket handy and you can certainly run some water through it to get some dust. Other than that, it's only what it's used for. You don't need to leave this with the client. You can literally toss it if you like. Just always make sure that this port is left in the closed position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install it in the opposite way, right to left, just to show you what that looks like. Now we're going to show you how to assemble the unit from right to left instead of left to right. As you can tell, we have already pulled the yellow clips. This is something you will need to do now. Once the yellow clips have been pulled, you're going to want to take off this outside manifold. You're going to want to take off your serial port. You're going to want to take off your fitting here. And you're going to take off your fittings here and here. Now that you disassemble the unit, now we have to reassemble it so that now it's a right to left. To do that, as you noted, we have to change the serial port. It now needs to go to the other side. But when we do this, we need to rotate it in the proper configuration. Now you're going to insert it like before, noticing that this clip is now facing the wall. You're going to want to remove that clip at this stage in order to be able to bring it to the front. Go ahead and bring that to the front. That would be your proper installation. Then you're going to take the manifold that you had laying down and you're going to install it into the serial port, noticing that the flow comes out of the top, goes down, and back in the bottom, creating the new flow of the unit. You're going to go ahead and then install the MIP in the bottom inlet. You're going to install the fitting with the gauge in the top outlet. You can now see that we are right to left. Go ahead and insert your caps. Rotate. Make sure they're flush. You'll fill them in. And go ahead and install all your pens. That simple. Now that you've configured it from a right to left, you're probably wondering, how do I put on my adapters, my fittings from the plumbing system you're working on, whether it's PEX, copper, galvanized, CPVC, PVC, all those will need a female adapter to attach. What's really important before you screw the female adapter onto our male pieces, please remove the fitting. Once you remove the fitting, you're going to put your Teflon tape on, no more than 3 to 4 wraps. One thing that's really important, never use paste on any of our products. Only Teflon tape, simply because if you use paste and you get it over, your customer is going to taste paste, and we don't want that. So only use Teflon tape on our products. Go ahead, once you have a Teflon, put your female adapter on the fitting while it is not inserted into the manifold. If you try to use the manifold to tighten your FIP onto your MIP, you may break the fitting and it will not be under warranty, as that is improper installation. Per the owner's manual, it says to remove the fitting to install. Now, word of caution, if you're using copper and ProPress, fine. If you're using copper that's soldered, please go ahead and prepare your female adapter with at least a 6-inch piece of copper already soldered and cooled before you attach it to the plastic. Although this will take up to 1,000 degrees of heat, we certainly don't want you to risk melting this fitting. So anyway, that concludes the proper installation of the female adapters to our 1-inch adapters. Remember, once the female adapter has been completed, you can go ahead and then insert the fitting and add your clip. Now that we've shown you how to do left to right and right to left, I've reassembled the unit so that it is a left to right. One thing to remember that's very important in the warranty process of this filter system is really important. You see that there are holes on the manifold that mounting. You want to make sure that every mounting hole has a screw. What's really important about that is that we recommend that you only use the screw-in type into drywall. A lot of people, like I did here, will have anchors. This is just drywall. And we have it mounted right to the drywall. You can screw in the screw anchors, but you're going to want to put this on the wall first. Mark all your holes with a pen so you know what you're doing. Go ahead and do that, and then you're going to install and mount this on the wall like I have here are some of these examples. And once that is actually installed and all holes are filled, you're going to be ready to go forward and attach your plumbing. Now remember, when attaching your plumbing, remember to remove the MIPs. Put your FIPs on using Teflon tape and no paste. Once you've done that and got all that installed, please remember it is optional to use a bypass. A 3-way ball valve bypass is really important in the application. We do this in order to be able to service the unit should you actually have to do that. A lot of guys might not do it because these are quarter turn systems, and once you rotate the filter out, it does shut this section off, and you are able to not have to turn the water off and reinstall a new cartridge. We recommend that you put it in bypass and that you then replace the filters if needed and be able to service the unit should you happen to have to do that. We're going to go more into detail about servicing the unit, registering the unit, and the app. But the reality is we just want to make sure that you have a screw in every single hole. Now that you've mounted the system to the wall, you're ready, provided that you've done all your plumbing, water is still off to the unit, you're ready to install your cartridges. Remember, this is a sanitary cap. There is a small hole on the top. When you pull the fitting, make sure your finger isn't covering that and you just pull it off. Once you removed it, reminder not to touch the stem. We're simply going to take the cartridge and we're going to insert it into the head, imagining that it's on the wall. You're going to rotate it till it drops. As you can see, the labels are actually to the side. Once you rotate the unit counterclockwise, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay this on the table, but remember, this is already on the wall. You simply rotate a quarter turn counterclockwise, and the label will absolutely come to the front. You're going to repeat that process with all 3 cartridges. To remove it, you're simply going to rotate the cartridge clockwise, and the cartridge will remove. Anytime you remove the cartridge, be sure to put your sanitary cap back on. This is to protect the filter from any future or potential contamination. Now that we've completed it, you've certainly installed all 3 cartridges like you see on our wall, and you're ready to turn the water on. Let's go over that process now. Now that we've completed the proper installation of the Honest Water filter system, it's time to turn the water on to the system. Couple of things as a plumber, it's really important. One, you should have already installed the bypass and had the water on to the house, guys. That's really important because let's get the water back to the consumer as quickly as possible. You're going to leave it in bypass. You're going to leave the outlet closed on your 3-way ball valve bypass. Now imagine for a minute you didn't do that, and if you didn't do that, you're going to want to go open a cold water faucet. Just the cold, one. That's it. We work under the rule of least path of resistance. If you only open one valve, water will flow only to that valve, removing any potential dust that might be in our system. There shouldn't be a lot, but you may experience some white foamy water. That's nothing more than air. If you actually let the glass sit on the counter, it would actually turn clear. That takes about 24 hours to clear up, but it's ready to use immediately. It's really important that you open that valve if you don't have a bypass when starting or adding water to the system. Now let's imagine you had a bypass for a minute. You have it in bypass so the consumer has water and our outlet to the system is closed. Now you're going to open the inlet slowly to allow water. One of the best ways to get the air out, like I said, is you can use this tube. You can install the tube here, open this valve, and make sure that tube is in a bucket or a drain. This is the proper way to do it to let the air out of the system. Anytime you add water to a cartridge-based system, you're going to have trapped air and we need to remove it. Turn your water on slowly till you get water out this tube for about 30 seconds. Close this fitting. Here, crossways would be closed. Inline is open. You're going to close it after 30 seconds of water running through that tube. And then you're going to go ahead and close the bypass. Simply by doing is turning that 3-way ball valve bypass on the T's closed. Now you have inlet open, outlet closed. It's at this time you want to go ahead and open a cold water faucet now, if you had a 3-way ball valve bypass, and open it so that water flows. You're then going to open the outlet slowly until you have full stream of water. Let that run at that cold water faucet for at least 30 seconds to a minute, just to be sure to get any excess air out of the system. Once that's done, you're going to want to turn off all cold water, go to a kitchen sink, and to properly, what I'd like you to do is bring your own red Solo cup clean. We certainly want you to taste the water. Remember, we want you to experience the quality of the product as well. It's always good to drink the water before you leave, just to make sure that you have properly installed the system. Another way to properly install it, not only drink the water, but have a chlorine tester available. In this process, you may need to let the water run for at least 5 minutes. That's okay, we're just getting, and do that at every faucet for at least a minute minimum. If you're at one faucet, 1 to 5 depending on, and I want you to test periodically to make sure the chlorine has been removed. That will happen if you have properly installed your system. Now that you have tested and you have confirmed that you've installed the system properly, it's up to you to let the consumer know and collect your check and make sure everything is going properly and that the consumer is happy with your install. This actually concludes our installation process of the Honest Water Filter system. If you should have any questions, we want you to know that we have an app. Please download our app before you arrive at any customer's location. This is extremely important for warranty. Once you've installed it and it's proper, you're going to need to take a picture of the system and upload that picture into registering the system. It is important that you register the system properly. Just follow the prompts in the registration and everything will be good to go. Assuming you've done that and everything's good to go, remember, if you don't register it, it's actually not under warranty. So we want to make sure you do that for you and your customers' benefit. A couple of things you need to know is that our manifolds are lifetime warranty and completely transferable. All of our cartridges only have a 1-year manufacturer defect, and in the first year, we give you a performance warranty as well. If for any reason the cartridge should fail on its performance, we'll be happy to replace that free of charge. It does not include labor, but the cartridge and shipping is free. If we replace it, we may ask for the old cartridge back. If we do, we cover shipping. Please note that when we send you a new cartridge, that the return slip is in that package as well. And we want you to put the old one in the new box, put the tape and tag it and give it to a UPS driver, and we'll be happy to take that back so that we can run our QC and figure out what may or may not have happened on that cartridge. Anyway, either way, we're happy you installed it. I know your customers will be happy, and we want you to know that we certainly appreciate all of your business and wish you lots of luck. Remember, Honest Water Filter is here to help you grow your business, and as a technician, help you grow as a technician. Please feel free to use the SOS at any time on the application, and we'll certainly be glad to get back to you and help you with any situation. Our app is there for your use and to make your life easy. Once again, a message from all of us here at Honest Water. We certainly appreciate your business, and we look forward to talking to you soon in the future. Have a great day.